Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast, presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Josh with MitsuTimes. Today, our special guest is Tony Marks, the owner and driver of the number 23 1G on our 1G list. How are you doing, Tony?
Hey, Josh, what's going on, buddy?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm glad to finally get a hold of you because I see you've been bringing home hardware everywhere. So I wanted to get a chance to sit down and talk to you because you're out there representing for all of us.
Hey, man, we're trying. We're definitely trying. It's a little rough sometimes with travel right now in the world and the way things are, but I've definitely tried to get out there and put on a show for sure.
With the price of gas, I don't know if I can afford to do quarter-mile racing anymore. Maybe I have to cut it down to eighth.
Man, I'm telling you, look, I had this conversation the other day. I have a diesel truck, and with the price of fuel, I never thought a race car would be cheaper than driving my everyday truck. But, man, I try to keep that truck parked as much as I can.
So tell us about the setup on your 1G. What's it like?
Well, actually, the car, I mean, it's really a really basic car, man. It's a 90 Eclipse. It has a 8.5 compression aluminum rod motor in it. Some S2 cams, Kegley springs, stock size valves. It's really more basic than everybody thinks. You know, you pop the hood, you see some shiny stuff, some billet stuff, but the car is actually really, really pretty simple. Got some great parts on there. Like I said, it's a wet block, JM fab intake, some alpha injection injectors. Just got them, getting ready to put them in and get them dialed in. But you know, the car is really simple, really easy, works pretty well for the combo that's in it.
I love the color.
That is the color is always a topic of conversation. It is Lowe's best spray paint you can find. It is just 7 cans of Krylon. I believe it's called Satin Olive. You know, we had the car when we first debuted it. It was 4 different colors, and it kind of gave it a little niche, and everybody was like, man, look at that ugly piece of crap go down the track. And I got tired of looking at it, and I can't afford paint, so we found something that would lay pretty easy, and it turns out that, I mean, it actually became a hit. Everybody kind of likes that weirdish green, puke green. I call it the turd. And everybody just kind of likes it.
You know, this may sound weird, but it just fits the 1GA look.
It does. It definitely, it's something about it, you know, the car just being that old shit box kind of killer mentality, you know, it's that flat green, it just really does kind of work. It's definitely a conversation piece when you're at the track running around on the trailer or whatever it be.
Definitely. So why did you choose the 1G platform?
Actually, it kind of chose me in a way. To throw it back to high school, I had another shit box. I had an 84 Caprice, big land yacht. And, you know, high school kid working 2 days a week, it started to have some engine problems. I think it actually blew a head gasket. And my cousin at the time, he had this laser. It was a 90 laser, front wheel drive. You know, the basic lasers were all the basic ones back in the original ones, the 90s. He bought it new. Well, not new. It was a demo car. It had 800 miles on it when he bought it. And I remember riding around with him when I was a kid, you know, going to baseball tournaments, softball tournaments, and I mean, the thing was just a killer on the streets. It was, you know, walking away from 5.0 Mustangs, which were the shit in the early 90s, and, you know, everybody definitely slept on it. Well, when I started having engine problems with my car, he had this sitting there as a spare, and we went back and forth with him. He's like, man, this car's fast, you know, I don't know how you feel, I don't know how I feel about giving it to you, and his wife was just kind of like, man, just give it to him. Let him, he's going to be fine. And I just learned how to drive a clutch like maybe a month before this all happened.
Nice.
So I went up his house and picked it up, you know, putted it out the driveway, off his road, hit the main road, and I got on it for the first time, 1, 2, 3 shift, and man, it was over from there. It was all downhill.
That brought you in and kept you.
It was all downhill from there. That car started the fire. It sparked off a lot of crap, a lot of trouble, a lot of street racing, but it was fun.
So this car that you have now, what was it like when you bought it?
this up from a former community member. It was, so basically at the time, the original 90 Laser I still had floating around, but it was dead. I picked up another 90 Talon that I was driving on the streets, and we were racing that for a while. And it was an index car, 1250, 1150. We ended up, getting into the 10s with the car, but we were just tearing transmissions up. So I started talking about doing an auto swap to it. And this car came up for sale right around the corner from me. The previous owner just had a lot of issues with it, had ran through a lot of money with it. They were having a lot of turbo and blowing up the engines, and he blew it up for the final time at World Cup. I don't remember what year it was, maybe 15. And he was just kind of wiped his hands with it and said, I'm done. And we were talking, and, we agreed on a price and picked it up. It used to be red, had a blown motor. It had a lot of the parts done to it that I'd wanted to do already. And when I was trying to calculate it in my head, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get a lot more value for the same price it would cost me to swap my car. So
definitely,
we made it happen, did the deal, picked it up, and pulled that blown motor out, put an old motor in it, and we just started tinkering with it.
So right off the bat, you didn't have the 6270. What other setups have you had in it?
No, the car. So when I got this car and put my motor in it, I had reused the turbo that he had, which was a Borg 62.
Okay.
Everybody, I guess a lot of people know me for flying through some turbos. We've had some turbos on this car and tested a bunch of different things, but we've predominantly stayed in the 62 range. We've been from a Borg 62 to a 6266 to the 6270, and now I swap back and forth between the 6270 and the 6870.
Okay. Just to fit in whatever class you're trying to get into?
Yeah, depending on the class or what it needs. The car was, when I bought it, was a True Street car built for, True Street FIS. It's still all glass, quote unquote, street car.
Yeah.
Still all glass, still all doors, all steel, except for the hood. It's got carpet, 2 seats, dash, console. Everything's still there. So It still fits in with FIS if I put the 62 on. And then we started trying to do some of this no prep stuff around here. So when I do no prep, I'll put the 62 on also.
Okay. I like to ask this question because, maybe there's somebody out there with a 1G and they're trying to break into a certain level, or maybe they're building a car to go a certain number. What was the setup when the car broke into the 8s?
When it broke into the 8s, it had my original motor in there. Nobody believes me. I put the pictures online of the damage that happened at the Derby after it blew. But the motor was in 3 different cars. It was 10 years old at the time. It was a original Eagle Wiseco 9.5-to-1 steel rod. Nothing fancy. The piston skirts were cracked all the way through. I was afraid to tear it apart because I knew if I'd find damage that I didn't want to see. We had beat that motor for years on the street, at the track. It had been in the other car that went 10s. It went in this car, and then we put it together. It went 9s the first time out, and just, faster and faster, swapping turbos around, and it finally went 8s. Like I said, it was a cracked piston, steel rod, 272, all used parts, basic build that everybody has had at one point.
Wow. So that setup broke you into the 9s and into the 8s.
That setup went 9s and 8s with 2 different turbos, correct.
Wow. What turbo was on it when it first went 9s?
When it first went 9s, we had the Borg 62 on there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it went 9 the first time. So we put the car together, this is 3-4 years ago for the shootout. It was in May, and we had the car sitting in the garage. It was on jack stands, and there was just parts everywhere. I kind of looked at it, and I said, you know what? This is either going to happen. It had been sitting for a couple years at that point already, and I kind of said, this is either going to happen or it's not going to happen. So we kind of teamed up and started knocking this car out, and we put it together from a complete empty chassis on jack stands to a running car in 3 months.
No kidding.
We didn't test it. We didn't do nothing. We had it on the dyno, I think it was 3 nights before we left for the shootout that year, and its first pass it ever made was at the shootout. And by the end of the weekend, I think we went I think it was like a 996, 998. So it took 6 passes for it to get it straightened out, and it went 9s. And that was, no alignment or nothing. Basically, the car was all over the track. The wheels were all. It was a ride for sure.
A lot of people say that the shootout's cursed because they go there and they break something. But I wonder if we all think that because of we get the motor in right before, take it out there, throw everything at the wall, and obviously we break something.
Absolutely. My motto that year was definitely a lot different than what it is now. I mean, like I said, we slapped that car together and said, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And luckily it went out there and held together and went 9s. And I mean, it was a great team effort for everybody that, pushed and worked late nights to get that thing together, to get it out there. There was many a times in the garage I was looking at, shaking my head going, this is never going to happen.
Yeah. I think we also get too hot and pissed off and
absolutely
look over stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm glad it's going to be later in the year this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself. I know a lot of people are saying it's interfering with different things or whatnot, but everybody's been to the shootout for many years. We all know we get out there and it's freaking hot, man. Yeah. It's cold and hot. You're sweating your ass off. You're done by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So hopefully the weather's going to be a lot nicer, being a little bit later, and hopefully some of these cars can benefit from that better air.
Especially by the time I've had 10 $1 ice creams in me, I'm useless.
Oh, my God, you're lucky. I wish I could eat 10 to $1 ice creams. I'm already fat as it is.
I'm getting there.
That's my biggest weight reduction, would be me losing some weight. And, I'm lazy.
So you've been bringing home a lot of trophies from IFO. I seen the one, I want to say it was West Salem. I could be wrong, but you didn't even plan to go, and you went and end up winning anyways. What have been your keys to success at these IFO events?
Yeah, it was Hebron or Hebron,
okay.
however you pronounce it out there. Yeah, we weren't going to go. Like I said, fuel prices this year, it's really, hey, I'm not rich, you know what I mean? I do what I can do. I bust my ass 9 to 5 and try to make it all happen. But, it was a last-minute decision, and we kind of said, all right, let's do it. And got out there, I put the 62 on the car, and I figured if I'm making that trip and I'm driving 6.5, 7 hours, I'm at least going to double enter and try to make it worth it. And, even if I finish second in both classes, it's something that's going to, pay for the trip.
Right.
Got out there, and there was like 8 cars in FIP, 7 or 8 cars, and it might have been like 11, 12 cars in FIS. And, hey, to win these events, to get out there, some of these caliber cars, you got to get lucky. And we definitely caught a break here and there when we needed it. Cliff, I can't say enough about Cliff and IFO, and still trying to put these events on for us to race at. The import world, the import scene and drag racing, I don't want to say it's dying, but it ain't what it used to be.
It's definitely on life support.
Right. So for Cliff to still be pushing this IFO, I mean, you got to try to do what you can do to support the people that support you.
Yeah, for sure.
But we showed up. We called a break when we needed it. The car ran relatively well throughout the day. It was running. It was hot out. It was running. I think it went 890s most of the day. A couple 9.0 passes. Caught the brakes, got lucky, caught the win. I definitely wasn't the favorite to win. Jared had came out from early performance with the Conquest. He was in FIP, and Derek was there running FIS with that killer he's got. So, like I said, luckily I got lucky, and I didn't leave there without my share of failures. We raced Derek the last race of the day for the FIS final. Got down the end of the return road, shut the cars off. Me and him congratulate each other. I picked the parachute up, started the car, went to get my time slip, and the car was hot. It was starting to overheat. It was like 2:15. So I didn't want to go back to the trailer. I just went straight to the trophy booth, the DJ booth. And when I got there, that was the last time the car started. The starter died on me right there.
Wow.
So, like I said, that was our lucky breaks, man. If a little bit of luck, man, that's all it takes to make it a really good day.
I love that. A 1G shootout at IFO.
It's a lot. The ones I've been hitting, it seems like the 1Gs are the popular car there. It's actually exciting to see.
I drove a couple hours to the St. Louis one, and there was more new Mustangs than there were anything. But a lot of people were complaining that there wasn't a lot of imports there. But whatever keeps those events going, I really don't care who shows up.
Right. familiar with the East Coast over here where I'm at, but I mean, the East Coast and this Maryland Mid-Atlantic region, I would say we're relatively popular, but the DSMs are relatively popular over here. We got, I know there's me, Bob Breach, got another guy, Troy, all in the Baltimore area. Derek's not too far. Kevin Collins, all them, they're not too far. I mean, there's a good cluster of DSMs around this Mid-Atlantic region.
Yeah, the only 1G that was out there at St. Louis was Kurt Stewart's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the sad part, the sucky part for me is all the 1Gs around here. We're all killers, man. All of them around here are fast.
This episode of the MitsuTimes podcast is brought to you by MKS Motorsport. MKS Motorsport prides itself in producing quality, lasting parts for the StarQuest community. MKS has been a key player in the StarQuest community for over 13 years. Their parts are tested and proven to replace, outlast, and fit better than OEM. MKS parts are race proven and can be found on nearly all StarQuests on our StarQuest list. Find out more about their products and services at mksmotorsport.com. If you could start all over with this build in this green car, would you do everything the same?
You know, I ask myself this a lot. If I was to stick with this car and this platform, would I do it the same? I mean, I have a lot of fun with the car, and for what it is and how quick we've been able to go with it, the budget isn't really big. You know what I mean? I haven't spent tons and tons and tons of money to get it where it's at. So, you know, if I was to stick with an all-wheel drive platform, I mean, yeah, I would. I'm having a lot of fun with the car right now. You know, it's being competitive where it's going. Obviously, we'd all like to go faster, but going faster is bigger bills and more money, more time, more problems. Honestly, if I was to build another car right now, though, with as popular as some of the racing and no prep is on the East Coast right now, I mean, rear-wheel drive is the way to go. I mean, we have had conversations about maybe trying to turn this motor and make this a rear-wheel drive car like Abel's, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens in the future.
So that being said, kind of running to the limits of the all-wheel drive, what motivates you to keep pushing this car?
I own it. There's the biggest motivation. I already own it. I already spent all the money on it. It's already there.
Yeah.
No, but you know, this community, the DSM community, you know, it's all the old heads, the guy that's been here for a year. It's like a family, man. You show out, show up at World Cup, and everybody knows each other, and everybody, you know, hanging out in the pits, and some of the friendships you've made over the years with some of these people, man. It's been a good time. And that's definitely helps in keeping the car. I know I haven't maxed the setup yet. I know it's got more in it. We just made a bunch of changes here in the last few months to help try to squeeze everything out of it. So I know there's more to come with it. So that keeps me going too. Definitely want to see how far I can take this and how far we can move up on that list.
Yeah. You know, speaking of the list, what do you think is the future of the 1G list? Because I think we're seeing, you know, a couple of the top 10 guys, you know, a lot of them aren't racing anymore. A lot of them don't even own that car anymore. And we're also seeing some newcomers come up. But at the same time, the top 10, you know, 7 of them are in the 7s. 3 of them are in the very low 8s. So what do you think is the near future for the 1G list? Because I think arguably it's probably the hardest top 10 to crack into.
Yeah, I was looking at this earlier, and I think we said 23rd, and I was counting ahead of me. I think there's only 6 or 7 cars ahead of me that are still actively racing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that kind of says a lot that, you know, where these cars have gone. I mean, look at Shepard's car has been, you know, top tier for years.
Right.
10, 15 years, more, 20 years, something like that. So, you know, I'm excited to see some of these new builds that are popping up. You know, we all scroll through Facebook. If you're in the car community, you're probably on 1,000 different car pages, and every once in a while I catch a car and share them. Damn, whose that? What? I haven't seen that before. Or, you know, at that IFO in Ohio, there was a 1G there. I was like, whose car is that? You know, you get excited, like, oh, man, there's something new. Let me go check it out.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I'm excited to see where it's going to go. There's definitely some cars popping up. You know, people just if they get it and stick with it, man. It can really become something. You know, it's you don't have to spend top tier money to have a good, fast, consistent car. You know what I mean? So I'd like to see some names change around. I'd like to see some more active cars getting up there. I was looking at it. I'm trying to crack. I'm thinking realistically for me, top 15
Yeah,
is
definitely.
where I'm probably going to fall in, somewhere between 15 and 10. I think the car might have 840s in it, 850s. We'll see. But I'm excited to see where it's going to go with some of the builds that are popping up.
So speaking of numbers, what are your goals for 2022? Either event wise or quarter mile number wise.
Win more. There's the goal. Win more. I think we're going to try to hit another IFO this year. I'm waiting to get onto the dyno now. We put the alpha injection 2600s in, and I just need to get them sorted out all the way. So once that's done and over with, then we might try to hit another IFO. I'm looking at, I don't want to say it out loud, but maybe possibly New York to see if we can make it up there and see what happens. The shootout's on the radar still. Hopefully gas prices don't get up to, fuel prices don't get up to $8, $9 a gallon, because that'll make that trip hell for sure.
Right. Yeah. And Jared was saying that the fall Hebron IFO will actually be bigger than the spring one, or it normally is.
Yeah, I was at the fall one last year and finished second out there. The fall was a good turnout too. The only thing that's stopping me with looking at the fall Ohio one is that it's 3 weeks before the shootout, so that's a lot to make those two trips out through the mountains back to back like that.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see. You know, if I keep winning, I'll keep racing.
There you go.
You can't win if you don't show up.
Exactly.
That's the motto of the year. You cannot win if you don't show up. That being said, though, I've still got. I've already paid for my camping spot for for World Cup. Sorry, World Cup's in my backyard. Being in Maryland, MIR is only an hour and a half from me, so I'll be there to at least spectate. Depending on what happens with True Street or Super Street, you never know. If something good happens, like I said, it's in my backyard. I definitely love to race World Cup. I did it way back in the day when they still had sportsman classes and index classes, but I would definitely love to take the car to make it in the World Cup, whether it be True Street on the 62 or Super Street, something else that may be coming.
Yeah. So we're talking about the, you thinking the car maybe has an 8.4 in it. Do you have any long-term quarter mile goals or even a power goal for the car?
You know, it's funny. We really don't even know what kind of power the car puts out. The car has not been on a dyno since the first shootout we took it to 4 years ago when it had the Borg 62 on it.
I thought I remember seeing that car on the dyno at the shootout.
Not at the shootout. We did it the week before the shootout.
Maybe it was a different brand car then.
Yeah, it made on the Borg 62, it made 600 wheel at 34 pounds, 36 pounds, somewhere in there. And that's the only time that car's ever been on a dyno. So we're actually really excited to get down there and spin it and see where it's at with the 68, 62 on it and get some actual numbers off of it. Realistically, I know my budget. Obviously, I'd love to go sevens. Who wouldn't love a 7-second pass?
Definitely.
I don't think it's in my cards with that car. It's way too heavy. I mean, the car's 2,800 pounds with me in it. It's a heavy car. And without, going huge turbo and being willing to put the moon tune in it, we'll see. But I think realistically on the 68, with some of the numbers we've seen, I mean, it's been as fast as 159.9 in the quarter, with some boost left in it and no nitrous. So I think it's got 840s in it. Okay. That's the goal. Because if we can run consistent 840s, that'd be great.
So you were talking about a laser before this one. Have you had any other Mitsubishi cars?
Yeah, I had to look back through some old pictures and stuff too. I think I've had around 12 or 13 total, but like every other DSMer, we buy them, we pick parts, we sell them, we scrap. Back in the day, we used to get what we want, scrap them, because who cared? They were everywhere.
Right.
I've had only three that I've ever tagged and driven, though. It was my Laser, I had a Talon, and now this Eclipse. So I've had one of each that I've tagged and driven on the street. All 90s, by the way, which is the bastard child. Really weird. But, yeah, I've had 12, 13-ish, somewhere around there over the years. Only three that have ever stuck around enough to actually be held on to and see where they could go.
I doubt there's that many close to stock 1Gs out there, but let's say that someone has a 1G and they're trying to get up to where you are, or at least, maybe low nines, let's say, kind of, I guess, look to learn from your experience. What advice would you give somebody who's trying to build their 1G?
It's funny you say about the close to stock 1Gs. I literally yesterday drove about 30 minutes from me to go look at a car that's been sitting in a parking lot. Somebody's been sending me pictures of this car for like 6 months.
No kidding.
And I finally said, screw it, let me run up there and look at this thing. It had no tags on it. The tires were flat. You can tell it's been sitting there for a long time. And I walked into the auto shop today. I said, hey, this car outside, whose is this? And they all just kind of looked at me. They're like, man, that thing's been here forever. That thing was here before I started here. Let me get somebody that knows about it. And apparently the guy said he's had at least 10 people in the last year stop by asking about it, but the owner doesn't want to sell it. And of course, I already scoped it out before I went and talked to him. It was sitting on some AGXs and had a thermal exhaust. And first thing I looked at was, it had a 4-bolt in the rear. So I was like, damn. Man, I need to try to scoop this up. I need to see if I can steal this from somebody. And the guy's like, nope, he ain't selling it. He's not getting rid of it. He wants to build it for his kid. And I was like, all right, well, this will be in the scrapper soon because you guys are just letting it sit and go to waste. But, yeah, somebody that's getting into this and wants to, with the auto car, it's really not hard to go nines. The biggest thing I tell everybody is keep it simple, stupid. It's that old saying, everybody's heard it at some point in their life. Keep it simple, stupid. You don't need to do and buy every extravagant fancy part to make the car work. Do what you can do, buy in your budget, and make your setup and your combo work. I'm still running a platinum Haltech ECU in the car, and everybody I get yelled at, you need an Elite. I mean, yeah, I'd love an Elite. But why? I don't want to spend $1,500 on an Elite and then have to redo the harness and do this just for more data. Keep it simple. I'm making the car run like everybody's made their cars run for years off of the basic information, and it's working. So, baby steps. You got to walk before you can run. You got to jump before you can leap. Don't pick up a car and slap a 72 on it and think you're going to go 8s the first time down the track. We got a local guy here. Me and Bob been helping out a little bit here and there. Troy, that was the first thing I said to him. Hey, you got to walk before you can run, man. Keep it simple. Start easy. Walk into it, creep into it, figure out what it's going to do, test, and you can make it happen from there.
There you go. It doesn't take big shop and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, you can definitely set some obtainable, realistic goals for yourself on a smaller budget. It's possible. I mean, I promise you, I spend a lot of money on the car in the big picture, but compared to what some of these builds have in them, man, it's very simple to get some decent numbers out of these cars.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about this already, but someone wants to come out and they want to see the Green Machine in action. What events do you plan to attend for the rest of the year?
Like I said, we're definitely trying to do one more IFO for sure. We're hoping everything should be in line for the shootout. I know local in Maryland, there's an IRO race, which is an import race at MIR. I think we might go to, and then maybe if we get another check here and there, hey, maybe World Cup can happen. That's always been the goal with the cars, be able to race World Cup and get that sticker that everybody wants, that certified badass sticker that you qualified. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well. I keep joking I'm going to start selling feet pictures or, get a GoFundMe or something going on, try to make some of this happen. But
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, man. we're doing the most with the least. That's what I say a lot. I'm doing the most with the least. I'm trying to make it happen. You know, after all the bills are paid, if I got money, we go racing. Try to make something happen.
Well, finally, Tony, I always give people a chance to give a shout out to anybody who's helped them get where they are, help late nights to get the car together. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Oh man, this list is long. This is a long list.
Hit me.
Biggest shout out, my boy Bob Breach, man. This guy, track, home, wherever it's be, he's always helping me work on the car. He's next to me, bouncing ideas off the computer, holding the wing when we put the wing on, and he's under the hood, helping me turn the car around between rounds. He's got a monster car himself, but this is another real simplified. He don't have near the work I do between rounds, it seems like, to make his car keep running. He's always there helping me out. Dave Katz, EFI Specialties. That's the guy who did the major tune on the car and got it set up. Waiting on him now to get it back on the rollers and get these injectors straightened out and see what kind of power we can do it. East Coast guy in Virginia, Mopars, LS motors, DSM stuff, great tuner. Big shout out Kevin Collins, another guy I talk to all the time, man. Always there, always answers when you're trying to bounce ideas and, tell me that I'm being stupid about something. Got a shout out to Casey Ritson, man. She helped me get this car when this car popped up. If it wasn't for her, there's no way in hell we would have got this car. She let me get the loan to make it happen and sell off all my old stuff and pay it back. So without her, this particular car would have never happened. Then you got the people in the community, man, that are always trying to push the car along and keep it better, like Warren and Andy Lag for producing these new parts. Kigley, Paul, Nat Fab, all these guys that keep producing and pushing the platform, man. Thank you. Thanks for keeping it alive. And of course, man, thank you. Thank you for keeping the list and all the info together and the data. It seems to be, it's always a topic of conversation. Where are you at on the list? Well, what's this guy run? You always got a source to go back and say, oh man, look, this guy went and did this, or this guy did this. So the list is definitely something cool. Glad it's there. And PayPal credit for their 0% interest. It's great. Got to thank them too.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I love, that it's getting out there more and it's helping motivate some people to hit the track or to return to the track.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of numbers you see on the website, but man, it's definitely, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to it to look at different information, compare 60-foot times between turbos and different cars. It's definitely a good source to have out there for people that are trying to, like me, race, and try to gauge where you're at.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, Tony. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, and I can't wait to see you hopefully at the shootout.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, man. I definitely appreciate the time getting out here to be able to talk about the car.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.